us a rare opportunity to bring security and stability and peace to this region.
President Trump outlining his plans for a peaceful Middle East and a new military alliance with countries in that troubled part of the world. Good morning to Ambassador Robert Jordan, who served in Saudi Arabia under President Bush, author of Desert Diplomat, Inside Saudi Arabia After 9/11. So this new military alliance is kind of the dawn of a new day. It's something the United States has talked about for a long time, that we can't be the cops for the entire world.
Yeah.
President Trump made it pretty clear in this speech.
Exactly. They have to take charge of their own neighborhood, and this is something that we've been emphasizing for some time. He had an interesting opportunity, I think, with this particular audience to make that very clear, and they seem willing. He made it clear that America is not going to fight their battles for them and is not going to wipe out terrorism by ourselves. We need their help. And so this was a message, I think, that resonated with this particular audience at this time.
It was leaders of about 50 largely Muslim countries. Do his previous words about Islam and radical Islam kind of hurt him as far as his credibility with that audience or not?
Probably not. I think they viewed that as campaign rhetoric. The main thing he had going for him, I think, was that he's not Barack Obama.
Exactly.
They were looking for a new beginning, a new president, and someone who might talk their language a little more than Obama did.
And you could say the same thing about Israel,
Sure.
which did not trust and did not like Barack Obama. So this military alliance, really, we will be selling over several years, something in the order of $110 billion worth of U.S. military equipment. Do we have any controls over how that's used? We would hate to, the United States wants that to be used against terrorists, not against civilians.
Sure, we have a long-standing tradition of selling arms to the Saudis. They're probably the largest purchaser of American arms in the world, but we have controls. And each of these chunks of sales have to be approved by Congress. We do have limitations on the use of some of the equipment, and I think the Saudis would not want to jeopardize that by turning this equipment on their own people, for example, or using it in a way that is offensive to American policy.
And the Saudis are key because they counter the influence of Iran in that region. And while a lot of Americans say we can't trust the Saudis, you know you can't trust Iran.
That's right. You don't go into these conflicts with a perfect ally. You go in with the allies that you have. And the Saudis are the best we've got in the Sunni Muslim world. And so I think we have to count on them, with our help, to be a bulwark against the terrorist threat of Iran in the region.
Now, for American defense contractors, this is a boon. You watch the stock in Boeing and Lockheed Martin and other companies like that go up. Is this good for American business? It's not just Saudi Arabia. The other countries will be in on this as well.
Overall, it's very good for American business. And we have a history of this. In the mid-1980s, McDonnell Douglas kept a production line going in St. Louis just to build F-15s that the Saudis were buying. And so, in many ways, American business is subsidized by the Saudi arms purchases and other countries in the region as well.
When the president says, I don't think that this is going to be that difficult to reach a deal between Israel and the Palestinians, you're biting your tongue just a little bit,
well,
Ambassador.
Every new president, I think, has come in thinking he could be the one who actually breaks a peace deal in the Middle East. And then they get a reality check somewhere down the line. It's certainly worth trying, and I would add this. When I arrived in Saudi Arabia right after 9/11, the Saudis' view was that everything wrong with the world was the fault of the Israelis. Now they believe everything is the fault of Iran. And so you have a unique situation where Israel's interests and the Middle East Muslim countries, Sunni Muslim countries' interests are lining up in a little better way. And so they have a common enemy in Iran now. And this may allow them to at least work around the edges of some sort of accommodation with each other.
Ambassador, thank you. Appreciate you coming in.
My
Appreciate
pleasure.
your wisdom. Thanks very much. Got more to come.